Well, welcome in to the Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory. I am the Bean Man. This humble space is our roasting laboratory, where we not only fulfill orders, roast coffee, invent new blends. It's all done right here from my basement in the lovely suburb of Kansas City known as Overland Park. So, we're going to be roasting some coffee tonight. We're going to be drinking some coffee tonight. We're going to be hanging out. So if you're tuning in, welcome on this beautiful Monday in the month of July. Let's get it started. All right. If you are a frequent watcher, you know we don't move a muscle a little bit of our liquid motivation, as it were. So we'll be enjoying a little bit of Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea being a rainforest island country to the, I guess you'd call it the north of the continent of Australia. Being that it's on the equator and it's a rainforest, it is very conducive for the type of plant that we're looking for to make the sweet beans that we will transform into the sweet dreams. As far as coffee regions go, Papua New Guinea, and I'm sure I'm just destroying the proper pronunciation, but that's just the Midwest twang that I possess. But the region that this would be called would be the Oceania region, but probably more familiar with what we call the Indonesian or the Southeast Asian forms of coffee, especially along the Indonesian islands. Not just Indonesia, but Micronesia and all those other Asias. But very familiar with the type of coffee that they produce. Southeast Asian, Indonesian, in this case Oceania coffee, is probably some of the most unique coffee that American drinkers are going to encounter because the flavor notes that exist in them are very, very different. If you've probably had one of these types of coffees, you maybe have had a Sumatran coffee. Sumatra being probably the most widely known. I do know Starbucks kind of will dive into Sumatra. A lot of coffee shops will try to offer or keep a Sumatra on hand. This is a very earthy coffee, and because of that, you get a very earthy taste. Now, earthy, when you first hear it, depending on your flavor notes and your coffee experience, earthy might not be the most attractive of sounds because we'll get into words like moss. We'll also get into words like tobacco, and sometimes words that aren't really always conducive. And in fact, I got you guys here on a Monday. Let's pull up the flavor wheel here, and you're going to see earthy fall more into savory, spicy, and then earthy. Now, vegetative and herbs, those tend to be kind of the furthest flavors from what the American coffee culture is used to. However, they do provide a very, very good balanced cup. So maybe not the most, fruity or floral or super complex flavors, but what they lack in the real high complexity, they build a very strong balance. And where the Southeast Asian, the Indonesian, the Oceania coffees like this one excel is their body and just a really, really rich undertones that they kind of can inhabit. Chocolate sometimes can be found in there as well, but you're going to be more on this end of the flavor spectrum. So between floral and nut, you get some more of these exotic flavors that are found in this type of coffee. Me personally, I originally did not like them because if you've been watching for a long time and hearing the rants of the Bean Man, when I started getting the specialty coffee, I was more drawn to the fruity flavors because when you read a bag of specialty coffee and you see things like strawberry and kiwi and papaya and mango and blueberry, it's hard not to immediately be gravitated towards that, especially if you started drinking coffee and most of the time the coffee tasted very bold. It tasted very plain. It also maybe even tasted like dirt. So when you first are told that, oh wow, coffee can taste like this, your mind begins to just run in all different spaces. Now, it's not flavored, so don't get it confused with, say, flavored coffee like pumpkin spice. The blueberry flavor that you see in specialty coffee is naturally, it's encompassed in the bean. And it's with the processing of the bean, where the bean is grown, the terroir, or the dirt that it's grown in, also the species of bean. All of this will make up those bean flavors, and it's naturally found. Now, it's not going to be like artificial flavoring. Like if you take a Capri Sun and you drink it and it says that this is going to be cherry and fruit blast, it's not going to be that, because that's a chemical that has specifically been designed to manipulate your brain to think that it's that. The coffee has, different acetic acids and different, all these different sugars at play that is going to make your mind think, or it's going to give it an experience of that particular flavor. So even when I tell you that this has a tobacco or earthy flavor, it's not like chewing on a tobacco leaf. It's more like when I'm taking a sip of that, like the robust taste of tobacco becomes familiar. And it may sound, to your first ear, you might be like, oh, disgusting. But if you really think about a bold coffee, and you can layer that kind of that tobacco flavor, or even that tobacco aroma onto it, it's almost like a big warm hug. And as I begin to explore more coffees, the real bold flavors of coffee, and even to some extent darker roasts, are becoming very appealing to me, because it's kind of like a journey. I started high and now I'm going low, and the more I discover low, it's that I'm looking for these flavors. Now, consequentially, I'll probably move back up the spectrum and go back up to high. And it's not so much about saying this is the only type of coffee I drink. I'm not really looking for the Folgers effect, where this is the coffee I drink. It's the coffee I've drank every morning since 1963, and it's the only coffee I drink. It's more of an exploration and a journey. So as we begin to look for the perfect cup of coffee, really what I'm starting to discover months into this adventure is that it's elusive. It's never to be found. But the drive, it's a hell of a drive. It's like if you were to hop in your car and you lived in Virginia and you had to drive to California. The destination is going to be far off and always in your mind. But if you look around, what you're going to see from point A to point B is really going to be the journey. Yes, getting to your final destination is going to feel like an accomplishment, but really all you have left to do is turn the car around and drive back home. And if you're a true observer, you be very mindful, you're going to get yourself a nice ride both ways. So that's the Deep Bean Man philosophy for the day. So we're going to be doing a little bit of coffee. We got some orders, got a couple of orders we need to fill. We also got to make the bacon, as it were. We're going to turn some of this Papua New Guinea into cold brew. I did some last week. It went really well. Had a very unique, good taste. Earthy, chocolate, caramel. With those tastes are very, very welcome in cold brew. And in fact, the earthy really gave that cold brew just this real robust taste that I was very, very pleased with. So we're going to do up another batch of that for the Papua New Guinea. In fact, most of this Papua New Guinea is going to be cold brewed, because cold brew it's kind of been a very unexpected flag in the Fat Bean ship. We are doing cold brew. I seem to have at least I'll pat my own back. I mean, the cold brew I've been having has been outstanding. And I think that's for a couple of very easy, manageable factors. So if you were looking to make great cold brew at home, I don't think that you need to be the Bean Man. But because of some things I have available to me, like my own roaster and fresh coffee, I've been making some really nice cold brew. And it's been a real good feather in our cap. And I think what the next couple of months is going to be is how do we make next summer, how do we expand the cold brew side of things? Because I think it's a nice, cool element that the Fat Beans Coffee Lab brings. We're also going to start, I know I said this last week, but I started a little bit of remodeling on some of my spaces down here in the basement. So this week, we're going to start trying to perfect some blends. I'll probably do a show on Wednesday, just all devoted to blending. What I'm going to do on Wednesday's show is I'm going to brew a bunch of coffee. Probably just AeroPress it all, because that's what I'm trying to make my blend for. I'm trying to make a nice AeroPress blend. I will probably AeroPress. Oh. We are live, and I did leave the roaster unattended for way too long, so that can happen. So she's good and warmed up. So Judy wants to get to work. I will go through some more of these specifics, but let's get right into it because Judy will not be ignored any longer. So make sure everything is everything. And let's throw some coffee. It was borderline a little bit of a dysfunction there. We are live. And we are messing around with about 650 degrees of roasting heat right now. So, all right, so we're going to do 1,000 grams Papua New Guinea coffee. This is all going to find its way into the cold brew. Thousand grams roughly translates to about 2.2 pounds. After it's all said and roasted, it will be somewhere around about 1.88 pounds, or roughly 850 grams or so. We'll check at the end. We do have the machine heated up as hot as it will possibly go. Well, not possibly go, but hot as it likes to be due to the sheer size. Let's pull up the viewing window for you guys. Grab that. Check our recipe real quick, and let's get started. All right, we got our coffee in. Following the exact same recipe that we did for the last batch of cold brew. If everything goes correctly, we should be able to directly mirror the cold brew that we did last Monday. So we're using the same recipe, and hopefully we have some of the similar results about it, which it is pretty, I mean, following the computer, it has been pretty good. Do have to note, sometimes humidity, it's very humid right now. It was also very humid last week. Humidity can play a factor in the ambient temperature. Some other factors that are at play are the electrical grid. So in the summer, when we've luckily had a very mild summer where the ACs haven't been putting a huge pull on the grid. But as the heat of the summer kind of progresses, one thing that you may be experiencing if you're roasting with electric, if you're roasting at night when there's a ton of stress on the grid, what you might experience is that the power output or even your rate overrides may be lower, and your roast time may be extended because the amount of electricity that you can draw from the grid is less. That really changes from machine to machine, house to house, and grid to grid. But I do notice right now, luckily, it's been, like I said, very cool here in Kansas. So it hasn't been an issue. But as we get into the month of August, it is going to be something I might have to contend with. I will keep you posted on that. So, full power, very low fan speed, and again, we're just trying to mimic the previous roast the best that we can. ROR did not kind of peak as high as the other one did. Again, the humidity here right now is very, very high. That may be playing some variable in how quickly the beans can take heat, because all the air that's being extracted in the machine has a very high water content, which water is naturally going to need extra. It's going to need its own heat energy to evaporate. So all of that could be playing in. I don't see it being a major factor. We'll keep an eye on it. Really what we're looking for is to make sure that the times aren't being incredibly skewed. What I mean by that is if it's taking a really long time to get the machine up to, say, 170 degrees, really much longer than it did the last roast, that may be an issue. We might have to, at this point, all we can do is lower this fan speed. We really can't increase the power supply anymore because we have this on full power. It is drawing everything she's got. And that is one reason why people on the bullets don't like to do 1 kilogram. It doesn't give you a lot of room for adjustments. So a lot of people will use about 700. They will usually be somewhere around 8 or 9. But that way they have a little bit more control over the variables. All I have left now is my fan speed. So if let's say this number stops rising, so this number drops into the 6s, and that is just going to stall our roast out, we may need to do something drastic to get that back on track. But it looks, for the most part, we look pretty good. Looks like everything is kind of lining up, lining out, so we'll just continue to roast like nothing ever happened. We do the cold brew first, then we're going to do a little bit of Honduras for Uncle Bro beans. Interested to talk. I think I just sent Uncle Bro beans a pretty big sum of coffee at the beginning of the year. He since has ordered some more Honduras. Curious if there's a story behind that. The hope is he just says, Fat Beans, this is the top-notch stuff I've ever had. I just drink it by the gal. But we will get to the bottom of that. So, right there, you can look at the coffee. It's kind of taking on a caramel. We'll call that yellow point. Why I determined that to be yellow point is that my nose just got hit with a really, really intense sweetness. Yep, and now, oh yeah. So the coffee has now reached what's called development phase, and we are starting to develop the flavors. Because we are doing this for cold brew, it's not the end of the world if this phase goes about 5 minutes. So if we don't even hit first crack until about 11 minutes, that's going to be okay, especially with this medium dark roast that we're doing, because we want to stretch out the development phase. That is going to allow the sugar molecules time to really break down and become present. When we hit first crack, that is when that sugar is going to begin to caramelize. The flavors like caramel, molasses, chocolate, dark chocolate, those will all become present at the source, and depending on how much we roast them, the more roasted flavor they're going to get. For this cold brew, we're going to try to shoot for right at about City Plus to full. So really before second crack hits, but not, we're going to be just butting up right against that second crack. We don't want second crack to be there. That's just because that's how I did it last time, but we're going to be lining right up to it. Now, to extend the development time, we're going to play with the heat. We'll slowly start walking off the heat, try to get this number to hover somewhere between 7 and 8. Where we're at right now with this number, that should bring that development time. It's all kind of inside baseball with roasting, but these little adjustments to coffee is where you can separate good coffee from poor coffee. If the coffee is just being roasted as a task, meaning we need the coffee roasted, some of this finer details of flavors will be bypassed, and that is how you can start to differentiate what you consider to be good coffee and okay coffee, and furthermore, bad coffee. All of what we do from now until we pull the coffee out is kind of the skill of the bean man. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to say I'm a master. I got to Malcolm Gladwell myself up to my 10,000 hours, but there are some things I've come across in my time doing this that have had a profound impact, and I've really seen the flavor of my coffee, kind of boom. And it's hitting a point where I'm pretty sure that what I can produce by following a couple of key guidelines is probably better than the average roast that you're going to get. Better than anything at the grocery store, in some form of competition with the coffee shops. And I'm just getting started. So you'll notice, if you're watching the roast curve in the top right corner, you'll notice that the coffee, I've just kind of flattened it out. Again, that's because I want to hang around this 7. It's going to start cracking when this gets to about 200. Now, every coffee is different. It's first crack. You don't want to say that all coffee first cracks at 200. This particular coffee is going to start first cracking at 200. Remember how I said I could go all the way up to 11 minutes? So if in 1 minute we're at 200, we'll be at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. That's right where I want to be. So I could probably even increase the fan speed. Even walk off the heat just a little bit more. I mean, we don't need to rush the coffee by any means. We are driving the bus like we want to be. So right now, there's just an intense sugar, like right at the peak of the coffee. The coffee is it's almost like smelling hot syrup. That's good, because that is a flavor that I would really like to manipulate once we hit first crack. So once we get to that first crack, that syrupy smell is going to transfer into what will become caramel. And if you are a cold brew aficionado, it's that caramel flavor that I think is really, really present with a cold brew. All right. So we're going to call that first crack. Put that at about 10:35. In fact, I might have been a little quick triggered with that first crack alert. Now we're getting a very robust crack. It's kind of like popcorn. The first couple pops might be some outliers. That's 2 Malcolm Gladwell references. Might be some outliers, but now we're in a good crack. We're going to walk off our heat. This will probably be the last time we walk off the heat. This might have been a little late on that. No big deal. I want this number to be about 4 or 5. 4 or 5 because I do want this to have... I don't want to run this number up to 215 right away. Good evening. Barbers are tuned in. Well, welcome in, barbers. I haven't got a chance to talk to you guys. It's been kind of spot on, spot off. The summer, the weather has been really nice here, and that usually can be my outside projects just really take my attention. But hopefully all is well with you guys. Hopefully you've been enjoying that Burundi. Your sister got the Costa Rican. Curious to what her thoughts are on that, as that is probably one of my most generic coffees. But sometimes generic can be not a bad thing. In fact, I've been enjoying that Costa Rican myself. Anytime, that's the newest coffee I have, so I'm always curious. We did lose a little bit here. Totally have. And her mind is blown that she's a black coffee drinker. And that's, you know what, that's why we do it. The more black coffee drinkers we can, now I'm not going to be like ultra, mega mustache and say black coffee is the only way to drink it. I don't care. You can drink it with mustard for all I care. But black coffee is somewhat desirable because of the health benefits. And anytime we can add something good that's also healthy, that is when the divine starts to take over. So very pleased to hear that. That's when coffee translates into the divine. Something I drink 3 times a day has 1 calorie, and it makes my day better. Well, holy smokes. That is, that's a contribution. 7 billion people, we don't get a lot of get a lot of chances to change things, but if that's the legacy I leave, if I make 10 more black coffee drinkers in my lifetime, that's a life well lived as far as I'm concerned. Lisa NB, I also challenge you to take a look at some of my new rewards for bean points. I've added some upper tier stuff in there, even though we're just making changes to the stream bit by bit. Kind of a cool little. I added some little nuggets there for you hardcore bean heads. Yeah. I need to add some images, but some cool little new nuggets in there. I'm not far from like a big bag of beans. Well, that's why I put that in there. Now, if we start giving away more beans to the point where I'm going out of business, well, then I might have to bump it up. But we got some hardcore followers that need to be recognized and properly compensated. So this is the PNG. Uncle Bro Beans ordered a Honduras. He ordered one. He actually ordered another one. So thank you, Bro Beans. We're going to do a little back-to-back here. So there we go. Just a medium dark Papua New Guinea. A beautiful coffee. I mean, I am just now getting into the world of PNGs or Papua New Guineas, and their popularity is on the rise, definitely. I can see why. It's just a syrupy, earthy, well-balanced, just a damn fine cup of coffee. And the cool thing about Indonesians, Sumatrans, Papua New Guineas, you could take them darker. So people that say, I like a dark roast, I like to let them try these types of coffee because it's going to be a lot more complex flavors than, say, just me, dark roasting the crap out of it. So it just tastes like all you taste is roast. Taking this about up to second crack and letting someone drink it creates a really unique coffee experience. So it made a delicious cold brew. So was that that it did. And I think I got 10 pounds of this, and I'm just going to use it all for cold brew. So if you do ever stop by the Miriam Farmers Market, that will probably be our cold brew offering, at least for the next couple of weeks. And like I said, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, how was the market? We took a break. There was a little bit of thunderstorms in the area, and it wasn't as bad as I think I thought it was going to be. But Belvarte also got married on Friday, so we were already at a wedding, and we just decided that if there's going to be thunder, it was a good time to take a break. Full disclosure, I will not roast when there is thunder present. So if I can hear it and see it, I'm not roasting. The quickest thing that's going to put Fat Beans Coffee Lab out of business is if I blow the circuit board on this, and that would be a true tragedy to me. So if there is active thunderstorms, I'm not roasting outside. And if I'm not roasting outside, might as well take a break. So come on the show and tell us how beautiful the wedding was, laughing out loud. Yeah, I mean, she could. I think she just got back from a walk, so that might... I don't think she doesn't share my same ability to just show up on camera no matter how sloppy I look. So it was a beautiful wedding. In fact, the wedding itself, they said some very inspiring things that really inspired me. So some inspiring things that inspired me. What a wordsmith old Bean Man is. But it was a nice wedding. So congratulations to 2 of our followers and 1 of our frequent guests on the Fat Beans Laboratory in Kyle Ross and Belvarte, as they have joined their union, and now the hard work of marriage begins for them. So wish them luck. They're going to get a good start to their wedding by heading off to Italy. So, all right. So the next order of business is we're going to do some 500 grams of Honduras for the Uncle Bro beans. This is Bro Beans request. Uncle Bro Beans has definitely been the MVP of the online order. Just to be curious, Lisa MB, how many bean points do you have? I stand by 25,000 for now. 15, yeah, so you're actually going to be there in no time. Because really, we weren't even able to give bean points until March. So I think you can complain. You'd get faster bean points if I streamed more. There are streamers that I was looking at some of their rewards, and they were like in the 100,000s, and I was like, oh, that's an imaginary number. Well, then I realized that some people will sit and watch a streamer stream a video game for 8 hours. And if you're collecting... if you're a subscriber, you're collecting 500-600 points an hour. You that's loyalty that I don't think I can really help maintain. Just simply due to the fact that I can't stream that much. I would love to be able to, but I just don't have the content. And I think all of us here in the Bean Show, have been more inclined to just more of a guilty pleasure, an hour or two a night. Now, who knows? I don't. Life is way too special to try to figure out just by standing around and using conjecture. So, all right. So this is a Honduras for Bro Beans. We'll get it fired up here. Give you guys the live view. The hot shot, if you would. I'll take a moment to get 25,000, but I think it's a very reasonable number for folks. I think we primarily get points from posting in the chat, maybe. You actually, if you're a subscriber, you get 2 times points. So the points generate about 250 an hour, and so you're getting 2 times points. You're getting roughly about 600 points an hour. So if you watch the show... Like, you see, Lisa, you just got to push me to stream more. It's like, you need to stream more. I got to get these points. Gotta get these bean points. And as a moderator, you have all the right in the world to do that. Okay, what kind of recipe? Pretty easy recipe. Watch it. No way I'm going to blow all my points on coffee facts. I mean, coffee facts is a nice little see what I did with them. No free facts. Oh yeah. Like I said, we're the summer has been a little slow, but it's not for lack of thinking. This is the incubation period of the show. So we're going to come out of the summer. Once I get back on a more traditional, work schedule, we're coming out fighting, Lisa MB. So who knows? The ceiling be high for the Bean Show. Because all we need to really have is time and patience, and I have both of them to a pretty high degree. Some would say too high. All right, so this is a very simple recipe that I do with the Honduras. We get all our roasting done at the market on Saturdays now. Yeah, and that's another thing, and it's really has sniped some of my material, is that, I'm roasting probably 15 to 20 pounds a week at the market, and that puts us, we're doing 60 to 80 pounds in a month, which is fantastic. Now, that's not going to last. Obviously, once the market is gone, that's going to definitely upset our, kind of where the business has been set. And we're really trying, Jay Brogan and I are slowly, but, to make sure we do a good job. But we're trying to think, okay, what's next? And really what I'm thinking is it's going to have to be some sort of subscription. I would love to be able to continue to maintain some of our farmers market people after the market ends. And I think that's only going to be done if I can make it as easy as possible for them. Because, coffee is still one of those things. It's kind of like, liquor, or if, it's more of a necessity. It's something that if you don't have, that's all you're thinking about. But it's not, you don't want it to become one more burden where you're like, I got to remember to order my coffee every week, and it can just become a pain in the ass. So we might just install something. It might be me just cooking up some blends. The subscription may be a blend. It may be a specialty coffee. The blend might be a little bit of a more economic way. So, I can offer coffee cheaper than what I've been offering it at. Especially if we have a rotating subscription, that would definitely lower our economy of scale to, a more, I think, economically friendly, which we all can use. Specialty coffee would be market price. I would have to adjust it market to market, just based on what I'm getting. I tend to with my specialty, I like to buy from Sweet Maria's. I've tried 3 or 4 different processors. Sweet Maria's it's stupidly the best. Like, it is hands down the best. But when you get the best, you also get the most expensive and also the hardest to predict. So we'll just have to be mindful on that. All right, so what are we at here? We're doing pretty good. 177, good time. Everything is lining up good. I'm going to increase the fan just one. I want this number to come down just a skosh. I just think it's a little too aggressive for my liking. Especially this Honduras. I want to get as much of that sugar and caramel flavor as I can. I'm very pro a subscription. It takes away the effort if there's an auto pay. And also no risk because we know all the coffee is great. So just because you said that, Lisa, I will put something together. Well, Jay Brogan, that's more of a shot across your bow. But hey, how's it going? Well, I love seeing the no by the Cossack. I probably just butchered that, but thanks for following us. Welcome to the Bean Show. I am the Bean Man, and we are roasting a little bit of Honduras coffee right now. So welcome in. If you got coffee roasting questions, or just questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, as we are just doing a little bit of coffee. This is 500 grams, or about a little bit more than a pound of Honduras, and we are about a minute and a half away from first crack. So welcome into the show. It's good to have you. We are the Fat Beans Coffee Laboratory, just home artisan roasters. Primarily content is coffee forward. Yet, because of, the randomness of Twitch, it can be anything else. So Lisa MB, your random coffee fact. Brazil grows the most coffee in the world. Today, Brazil produces about a third of the world's supply, according to the International Coffee Organization. About twice as much as the second place holder, which is, ironically, Vietnam. So Vietnam is the second. Now you may be saying, I've never had Vietnamese coffee before. That is because Vietnam, because of how low and how hot and humid the growing condition is, Vietnam primarily grows the coffee Robusta, which is mostly used in instant coffees, water-soluble coffees, or also in a blend of espressos. It gives it that nice orange hue. Brazil is the largest producer of Arabica coffee, and it is probably the base of most of your blend coffees that you are drinking. In fact, I'm going to be talking about a blend on Wednesday, and we are going to probably be using our rich or dark part of that blend will be a Brazil. So it's probably, if you are even remotely into geography, it's not hard to understand why. Are these facts coming from your knowledge, or did you have these written down? I had them written down, Jay Brogan. Obviously, the Vietnamese piece I added is coming from my own knowledge. I know this, but it's nice to have a little bit of a map. Now, if you said, Bean Man, what's the largest coffee producing country in the world? I would say Brazil. It would be, you get a quick trigger response from the big guy. Okay, so the Honduras, very mild coffee. We are hoping to make sure we don't bake off the kind of the rich berry acidity that this coffee is known for. So we're going to probably just let it go a skosh longer than we have been. Probably somewhere around 212. It's going to be the target mark. But really I'm going to be smelling for the sugar to start moving more into a little bit of that roasted, almost like a smoky marshmallow. Once I start smelling that, I'm going to pull it. So, again, just a little bit of insider roasting for you there, but that's kind of what I'm looking for from this coffee. You get a little bit of flick in the ROR right at first crack, but this Honduras has done that I've tried to work it out a couple of times, but I've gotten such good results from this particular profile that I'd rather stick to the profile and try to mess around too much with the fan, the heat, to try to mold that out. Because taste in profiling coffee, taste is the most important factor. So, all right, 212. That's right where I want to be. Let's pull this coffee. So, give you the drop shot here. All right, so medium roast Honduras. We'll get this out to Uncle Bro Beans ASAP. Uncle Bro Beans, if you're watching, especially if you're watching this on VOD or video on demand, I should get this in the mail tomorrow. So you should definitely have your beans by the end of the week. So Honduras, medium roast. Looks pretty good. Hit all the kind of the milestones I was looking for. So that is the business that we needed to take care of today. So PNG, I'll give you guys a little look-see here. So there is the Papua New Guinea that we'll use for our cold brew. I'm gonna taste a bean. So here's a free eat a bean for you. Yeah, that's got a really rich, earthy flavor in it. And then the Honduras, kind of just been the flagship of the summer. So it will be a shame when we finally run this one down, but just easy drinking coffee, good medium roast. As far as specialty coffee is concerned, unblended coffee, I would say Central American is just the best for single origin, unless you are really looking for something unique, and then that's when you start playing the African coffee game, which Lisa MB, vegetable beer, you guys have done with the Burundi, and I'm really glad you guys are liking that coffee. So the Honduras, yeah, so Lisa, it's a very commercial, and I don't want to say that to scare you away. It's just an easy drinking cup of coffee. Then we'll probably circle back to the Ethiopian. Yeah. The Ethiopian, even if you circle back a little later, I've been checking these sites. The Ethiopian coffees are off the boat. There wasn't a big lag. Like I thought there was going to be a huge lag because of that whole Suez Canal nightmare. But honestly, we really haven't seen anything. All the crops are coming in. This is the Ethiopians, they got a big harvest in March and April, and they're starting to hit our shores. So the Ethiopians are running like lattes out there. So even if you don't get it on this Ethiopian, I will pull another Ethiopian. And in fact, if you have a opinion about, hey, I want to try a natural or a washed, the Ethiopian's wide open. Now, right now, the Burundi is the washed coffee that I have, but that's the nice thing about being a small artisan roaster is, hell, I'm only buying 10, 20 pounds at a time, so we can get creative. Now, if I was buying, say, a pallet, which is 137 pound bags, that'd be a little bit different. It's one of our most popular at the market, the Honduras. Yeah, because of it's just very, very commercially friendly. It's also very easy to roast. And when you're roasting coffee outside at a market, it's pretty good. The subscription should definitely have a surprise me option. And yeah, I mean, we'll start pushing it because you make a really good point. There's no reason we shouldn't be. Because if there are people who want to, I'd like to get that out. And and sometimes we're gonna let the business kind of decide what the business wants to do. We're taking a very millennial approach in that we're low overhead. Obviously, we're roasting in my basement, and we're just gonna let the business kind of develop itself to where it wants to go. And it's been an incredible ride. Like it's kind of weird to think that we're definitely starting to see the seeds, and those seeds are starting to get sprouts, and the flowers of the plants or the weeds, that those will become it's kind of cool. So this has been a really cool ride, and I'm glad that we more so Jay Brogren really kind of pushed us to this point of it. So I love that idea, roaster's choice. And that, I mean, yeah, that'd be a nice blend between, like, maybe we do blends and maybe we do a bunch of different options. And I think between us, the Twitch universe, which is why you guys are so integral to the Fat Beans Coffee Lab, we figure something out. I mean, no man's an island, so why do this alone when we have this unique piece of technology? People at the market constantly are asking me, they say, what makes you different than, say, the roaster down the street? As far as coffee and quality, the roaster down the street may have been doing it for 25 years. I'm armed with knowledge. I'm armed with the thirst for knowledge. There is great reports. There are great researches. There are great journal articles that are being written every day that are designed to, elevate people's coffee understanding. So I have access to all that. Have access to very, very good beans, which wasn't always the case. You used to have to go to those local roasters to get your beans. Now, with the advent of Sweet Maria's Coffee Mug, Cafe Imports, really all these different sites, with them, I mean, the sky is the limit. But we have this. I mean, we have our Twitch show, we have our farmers market, and we really, I think, we are more at the ground level with our customers than I think a lot of other places are. And that's it. That's our edge. And if we're not going to admit that that's our edge and exploit that edge, then we're just another person roasting coffee. And so you guys, everyone out there, whether you're watching this on demand, whether you're watching it live, whether you're coming to the farmers market, that is this is Fat Beans. Like, by no means is Fat Beans the Bean Man, because really I'm just the grunt behind the machine. So it's all of us. So yes, love that idea. Okay, a superhuman thirst for knowledge. I would say that is the only superpower that I have. It is not speed or strength, so it is just I wouldn't even say superhuman thirst, because that would mean that no one can be quenched, but I will constantly undertake new knowledge, and that I am not afraid to say what I've been doing is ridiculously wrong, and it's very easy for me to turn on a dime. And I think that is partially because of my never-ending thirst for said knowledge, is that I am not too proud to just say, all right, let's do it different. Yeah, that's a great Ross quote. Science boy. Maybe that's my new alter ego. No longer am I the Bean Man, but am I Science boy. Nice quote there, Jay Brogren. You think you win? You've won that one for the day. You pulled a friend's quote, and I think that that's the winner. All right. Well, unless you guys got burning questions for me, I think that's a good Monday. Really just trying to get some sort of content schedule figured out. It's been tough, as we alluded to earlier, because the farmer's market is taking so much of my roasting, and early on I put this emphasis on this machine. I think that isn't can't really stream anymore. I think it's just more of a call to arms to me to come up with some other content until, hopefully over the winter, maybe the subscriptions, maybe we have a ton, maybe we're doing, bags and bags, and then it's easy to stream content. But the farmer's market right now has just been really taking up a lion's share of, is it lion's share? Elephant rhino. But it's been taking up a big share of that. So it's just, I got to do better at coming up with some more content. We will do blending. I think I need to push myself to get down here and talk blends. So Wednesday, 8:30, we're blending coffee. If you've ever been curious about blending coffee, I've done a couple of shows, but this one, we're going to do it from the perspective of you at home. We're not going to do it from a commercial, quasi-commercial, artisanal coffee roaster. I have a different way of building blends because I have the machine. We're going to build our blend from taste, and then we'll go to beans. So we'll do that on Wednesday, and then we'll kind of see where the week takes us. So Wednesday, definitely 8:30. If anything pops up as far on the website, so if I get any orders on the website over the next couple of days, I will also come down here and roast those, as I do try to roast everything I get on the website in the Twitch show. So that is that. We should be able to make it and see you then. Well, excellent. So it's good having you. Continue to collect those bean points. We'll get out there. I'll have Jay Brogan come down, so she'll come in and shoot the breeze a little bit as well. So we'll have a fine time on Wednesday. Other than that, it's been good as always having you all in here. If you need a little assistance in keeping your week moving forward, well, don't be afraid to call in the substitute. Get yourself a little bit of caffeine fix. Stay caffeinated. Also, I have decaf. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. Decaf. But get your caffeine fix. Stay pushing forward. It is by no means about where you're at today. You got to compare yourself to where you were at yesterday. You can't compare yourself to, where Johnny or Jimmy or Billy or Bobby or Susie or Tina or Gabe. The best person to compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. And I would give everyone a firm encouragement to say, well, if I'm going to be better than somebody, I'm going to be better than I was yesterday. So get at it. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Be real. Take it easy. Bye.